To the first round of the game towards ACL. The comeback has been incredible. I talked to his doctor today, 6 months coming back and clicking at the right time. What has he been like with the rehab? I'm sure you saw it, and what does this mean to this team?
Sounds his story is just a crazy story, just from the ACL tear to, not being able to play a whole year. So I'm really happy for him. I feel like he's just a big brother away from home, just looking to win.
Up front. Tony Reese, WTVM out of Columbus, Georgia. For both of you, just kind of with all the success y'all have had this season, how do y'all kind of block out the outside noise and really focus in on the goal ahead?
Well, us having the bond that we have, I feel like we all just lean on each other. We know our struggles on and off the court. We know our strengths on and off the court. So I feel like just knowing that just plays a big part in our success on the court.
Yeah, what he said, we love each other like a brother. That leads to on court, just having that bond on the court. So that's leading to our success.
Right here to your left.
There's only been one #1 seed that's lost, and that was Virginia to UMBC a couple years ago. How much was that brought up to you, just in terms of making sure that Texas A&M Corpus Christi is respected?
Well, we only can control how we play. We can't really control how everybody else play. We know how the energy that we need to come out in this first game to get a win. So yeah.
I know you guys got in around 6 o'clock yesterday to your hotel here. What was the 24 hours like? Did you guys watch the game as a group? How did you guys prep for the game tomorrow?
Well, we had a nice dinner, watching the game on a projector. So I feel like that's the big thing. Just, our bond is real. We're always together watching games, and I feel like just having that bond starting from May 28th, it's just gotten closer and closer.
Very back.
Jake Stansel, WBRC here in Birmingham. For both of you guys, I know you guys overall #1 seed in this tournament for the first time in program history. Do you guys feel any sort of pressure to deliver, or do you guys maybe welcome that pressure?
I say we don't feel any type of pressure because, we go out there and we practice hard, and when you practice hard, you really have you really don't feel any type of pressure when you're playing hard.
Up front.
Hey guys, Steve Pineda with WTVM. So just being so close to home, how does it feel to have the fans being able to travel, basically being in your backyard?
It means a lot. Just to know that they can come 45 minutes away, just be here for us. Like I said, we play off them. They give us the energy that we need when we don't have it. Even away games, well, we see Alabama fans there, so I feel like they give the energy that we need just to win a game.
Any more questions? Right here.
Yeah, hey, Brandon, I noticed there's a security guy over there. Is this something you're doing regularly now, traveling with security?
I feel like we always travel with security. That's all I'm going to be able to say on that.
Right here, then in the back.
Brandon, y'all were asked about the pressure of being #1 overall seed earlier. You guys had a brief run at #1. Do you feel more prepared to handle with everybody as the target on your back, everybody looking at y'all as the favorite?
Like you said, we've been #1 during the season. I felt like before we wasn't as prepared, but I feel like now we're more prepared for really anything that comes our way.
Very back.
Brandon, Mark, anything you guys noticed about Texas A&M Corpus Christi? Any tendencies last night? Anything you got to shut down? Watching it last night.
Just watching them last night, we know that they're going to come out, and play us hard. I think any team that's here in this tournament today or this week is going to come out and just give what they have. So we just have to come out and give the energy that we need to win against a good team.
Here up front.
Brandon, Paul Newberry from Associated Press. I think I know the answer to this, but I feel like it has to be asked again. Just with all that's happened with you off the court this season, the stuff, is there any pressure or any burden coming into this? How do you block that out and focus on the NCAA tournament with all the other stuff swirling around?
Like I've said before, I just lean on my teammates. Really, they're here for me like a family away from home.
So having just won the SEC tournament, what's the whole team mentality been like, wanting to just not settle, wanting to go for it again? Just want to get some thoughts on that.
We take it one game at a time, one possession at a time. That's how we're looking at this for right now.
Any more questions? Okay, man, thank you.
Sorry, we have one more question.
Oh, sorry, one more up front.
Question for you, Brandon. So having just won the SEC, the MVP of the tournament, you have another chance to display your abilities on the big stage. Get your thoughts going into this, man. Another opportunity to show what you got.
Well, one thing is, you're right. It is another opportunity, but I mean, without my teammates, I wouldn't be here to this day. They pushed me to be the guy who I am today since May 28th. It's just been all hard work since then, all kind of blood and sweat. So I mean, I think without them, I wouldn't have had any of the awards that I've achieved. So I'm just really honored and blessed to be here.
Up front.
Overall, encompassing this season, what's been really special amongst you guys? How have y'all been so successful this season?
Just how we bond with each other. I mean, I've never seen a team that bond just like us off the court. So I mean, we're with each other every day, even at each other's houses. So I mean, to feel like that just builds everything up just to get closer and closer on the court. So it's how we know each other's strengths and weaknesses. I feel like that plays a big part in who we are today.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Nate Oates. Coach, if you would, give us an opening statement, and we'll take your questions.
Yeah, we're excited to be playing in Birmingham. When they announced first 2 rounds would be in Birmingham, we knew we'd, have to play well to be able to get to choose our site. The players have done a great job putting together a good season so we could play close to Tuscaloosa so our fans can come support us. So we're excited, first time in program history to be number 1 seed. Excited to come in and try to win a couple games here in Birmingham. We watched the Corpus Christi game last night. They're a good team. It's been done before that a 16s beat a 1. Our players are well aware of that. As a coach, I've been on the other side of this, not a 16-1, but we were a 14 seed playing a 3 seed when I was at Buffalo against Arizona, and they were loaded at the time, so I kind of shared my experience being the lower seeded team coming in, what they're going to be thinking. My assistant Charlie, who just got the job at Georgia Southern, so congrats to him. He's done an unbelievable job for us in 4 years, but he was an assistant at Iowa State when they were in a 3-14 game and got upset. So we've had experiences on both sides that we share with these guys. We just finished practice. I think our guys are ready to go. I think we'll be locked in, focused on the scouting report. When the stage gets bigger, the focus on the smaller details becomes much more important, and that's what we've been trying to get our guys to think about, realize, just focus on the little details. They've been doing a good job of that. So we're excited to get the tournament started tomorrow and see where it goes from there.
Okay, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll just start 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Probably should have asked this after the game on Sunday, but we didn't see Namari or Dom. Do you have an update on them? Is that just a decision on your part?
Listen, that was a deal where, we're trying to, it's hard to play 11 guys in every game. We kind of went with the guys that playing well. Stuff started out great. We just kind of rolled with the guys that were playing well at the time. They're both 100% healthy. Thought Namari's had 2 great practices. Would anticipate seeing him early tomorrow based on his last 2 practices and how focused he's been in video sessions and everything. I think Dom's playing really hard, and we'll play him as needed, but there's nothing wrong with either one of them. It's kind of one of those deals where Noah Gurley didn't play in 2 out of our last 4 regular season games, and he averaged 20-plus minutes in the SEC tournament and played really well for us because we've got a really good culture of guys staying engaged and focused and keeping their attitudes right and being ready to play. So I thought Namari's attitude on the bench was unbelievable. Dom's has been great all year. Noah Gurley's been great. So I would anticipate those guys playing.
You mentioned the UMBC Virginia game. Just how did you bring it up with your players? How much did you bring it up? And how do you think this team, going back to November, December, has handled playing some opponents that might not be, the bigger names?
I think we've done well. We have never come out and not taken those opponents seriously. You think about one of our better non-conference opponents was Liberty. I thought our guys came out and played really well, really focused on the scouting report that game. But we haven't talked in depth with the Virginia deal. We just mentioned it. It's happened before. Don't think because you're a 1 seed, you're guaranteed to get out of the first round. It's not guaranteed. It's happened already. Let's be aware of the fact that this team's, they're number 1 in their league in offense and defensive efficiency both. They're a good team. They play really hard. They've got good players. So they're a well-coached team. Coach Lutz, I've known Coach Lutz. I'm good friends with Coach McDermott at Creighton. He coached under McDermott. I've known him for a while. He does an unbelievable job, and they've got this program headed in the right direction. So we just made our players aware of the fact it's been done before, just to kind of heighten their attention to detail, if that makes sense.
Very back, and please remember to state your name and affiliation.
Jake Stansel, WBRC here in Birmingham. Coach, of all the teams you've had in the NCAA tournament, do you feel like this year's team is one of the best teams you've had poised to make a deep run in the tournament?
Yeah, I do. I think we've got a maturity about us a camaraderie, a cohesiveness, the chemistry is great. There's literally nobody jealous about anybody else on this team, which is rare at this level, and the talent level's high. So, the more you guys get to know our group, I think the more you're going to love them, because they really are truly, genuinely concerned about their teammates, and they love each other. So, the group we had 2 years ago I thought was prime too, but we shot 12 of 25 at the free throw line against UCLA and lost in overtime. So, we win that game, who knows what happens from there. So we had a pretty good group 2 years ago. This group's similar, but they're definitely different. We're younger, but I don't think youth means immature. We've got a lot of younger, mature guys. Noah Clowney, Brandon Miller, Jaden Bradley, Rylan. I mean, all four of those freshmen are really mature, and I like the maturity of this group. And like I said, just the chemistry of this group's really, really tight and really close.
Right here to your left.
Right here. John Zeno,
Sorry,
Associated
sorry,
Press.
sorry.
That's all right. We all talk about you guys being so close to home and being able to pack the arena with your fans. Is that an even bigger deal given some of the treatment y'all have received in the last from other arenas around the SEC the last couple months?
Look, it's always nice to play in front of your own fans. I think it gives you a little extra energy. This isn't technically a home game, but I sure hope that Legacy's packed out like a home game, and it's been nice to play in front of our own fans and in front of some friendly fans in Coleman. So I hope we've got a similar treatment here at Legacy.
And Nate, Dan Wolken, USA Today. A few minutes ago, I noticed something that I've never seen before in 20 years of doing this, which was an armed security guard accompanying Brandon to the podium. I was just curious what the thinking is behind that, and how often do you have security with him right now, and when did it start?
If you guys saw some of what I've seen sent his way, I think you'd understand why that's the case, and I don't want to get into all that. It's the entire situation, as you know, it's just a heartbreaking situation on all accounts, but some of the messages from people that can sit behind fake email addresses, but who knows whether they're real or not, that I've seen, something that nobody would ever want their son. I treat my players like my own sons. I don't have a son, I have 3 daughters, but I put myself in his parents' shoes, and our administration's seen the stuff that I've seen, and it's appropriate. It's nothing a college kid should have to go through. So I think if you were able to see what I've seen, you'd understand why that's going on right now.
Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13 in Birmingham. Coach, a year ago in San Diego, we had JQ went down with a knee injury. I just talked to Lyle Kane this morning. He said 6 months is not normal for a comeback. What does that show, the things behind closed doors that people didn't see with the recovery? And he's clicking right now at the right time, it seems like.
Look, Dr. Kane's one of the best in the business. We're fortunate to have, in my opinion, the best sports doctors in the country right here in Birmingham that are our team doctors. So, with the help of Lyle Kane, our trainer Clark Coulter, we got a new strength coach this year, Henry Barrera, all those guys, the team of people that helped him come back. And then the most important thing is Javon's will to recover himself. I mean, he worked his tail off. I saw him on the side. He worked hard. And then he was willing to come back when maybe his game wasn't perfect. Some guys would have continued to sit out until they felt, no, he came back, wanted to jump back in with this group, and I've talked about how tight-knit and close and the chemistry with this group, how it's been. He wanted to come in and help his teammates, and then also the quicker he was able to get on the floor, the more he could kind of get the rust. You can only get the rust knocked off so much in practice. So when he came for that South Alabama game and he was cleared and ready to go, and we'd kind of got up large enough, like, Jake, you want to get some minutes in the game? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So I thought that was pretty cool. We got him in that quick. Now, you see how well he's playing now? I don't know if he's playing as well now as he is if we didn't get him started when we did, because he went through some slumps. I mean, you've got to, in your mind, if you're coming back from an injury, you've got to be able to fight through the fact that, you know, it's going to take a little bit to get more comfortable. So he went up, came down. He's on an upward trajectory right now with his play, and it's needed because we needed. He was great. I thought he was maybe the best player on the floor against A&M. Did an unbelievable job defensively against Wade Taylor, who's one of the best guards in our league, one of the better guards in the country, and then he was good on the offensive side of the ball too in that game.
Nate Kelly, Tuscaloosa News. Nate, you mentioned Tuesday not knowing your opponent for that practice. Just you guys were going to work on yourselves a little bit. What were some of those points of emphasis, or what were kind of things that you guys coming into these games are focusing on?
You know what? I think on offense, when the ball's moving, we're better. We want to make sure the ball's moving. We call it our .5 game. You know, once we force an advantage, the first guy to touch the ball out of the advantage has a half a second to make his decision whether he's going to shoot, drive, or make the next pass. And that next guy's got .5 to do that. Like we want the ball popping. So we worked on that. Just kind of, we got some shooting drills, some advantage drills to work on that. Defensively, we worked on getting some individual defense back down. Your team defense is always best when your individual defense at its highest level. So we have some drills we worked on with that, and then we worked a little bit in transition. You know, when you're playing, when your practices only come the day after a game or the day before a game, you don't want to get up and down the floor a whole lot. So we were able to get up and down the floor and work, you know, make sure our transition's tight. We play in transition a lot, but some games we've been less efficient than others, so we tried to work on a little bit of that. And that's really about it, because we didn't want to go too long. We want to make sure that our legs are fresh because we got to play 2 games in 3 days. You know, and we need to make sure that they're fresh for both those games, you know, provided we get by the first game.
Up front.
Yeah, Tony Reese, WTVM Sports 9 out of Columbus, Georgia. Coach, talk about the success your team has had this season, just kind of knowing that you're the #1 team, ultimately the team to beat in this tournament. Kind of how do you block out the outside noise, and really what's been the motivation game in and game out to try to make a deep run?
Yeah, our guys have been really mature about kind of focusing on the task at hand. So, you know, how do you play well tomorrow? Well, you practice great today. Well, how do you make sure you practice great today? You make sure your mind's where your feet are at. So our video session last night, our guys were great. A lot of guys stayed on and studied a lot more video on their own last night because they had great questions during our video session this morning. You know, our video session this morning, they had a lot of good, I mean, our coaches bring stuff. We're open enough, like if you players got points you want to make, ideas you got, bring them. We're the coaches are here to help you guys get better and make you the best you can be. And I think it's that mentality of like, we're all in this together. We're trying to get to be the best we can be, and let's just make sure we're all focused and have a great practice. I thought we had a really good practice today. We only went an hour. You know, we're going to get 40 minutes to shoot, so we want to make sure they're fresh. But I think great practices, great video sessions lead to playing well, and I think our guys have done that all year.
Last question right here.
Carrie Osef, WVTM. Nate, we've talked a lot this season, but you know the intangibles from a team. You know when you have a basketball IQ, you know when you have talent. But I know you've wanted to create a winning culture. At what point in the season do you see that come to fruition for a team? And also, how much of that is encouragement from the coaching staff or just the guys that you have in the locker room?
You know what? Quick story to kind of talk about that. You know, I think, you know, we had the foreign trip this summer, so that helped everybody kind of get tighter, closer. They're over in Europe, in non-English speaking countries, hanging out. So I thought we developed a pretty good bond through the summer. And then the rules in Division I are you get 2, either scrimmage, exhibition, whatever, before you play real games. Well, we had a close scrimmage at TCU to open up our first, you know, we won the 3 games over in Europe, so everybody's feeling good. And everybody's got great culture in the summer from what I think. Well, the first time we played somebody else, I think we were down 30 at the half at TCU. We had a lot of freshmen, a lot of new players. I think over 75% of our scoring this year is coming from newcomers. So first time we played somebody, and TCU had, I think, the most production back maybe of any high major team in the country. So it was a great scrimmage to get. You know, that was part of the plan. I didn't plan on losing the half by 30, but we did. Then the second half went a little better. Brandon kind of asserted himself, and we're not going to get drilled like we did in the first half. So he was better, but we still lost it. So we got back, nothing to do with the coaches, completely the players. They had a players-only meeting the next day. Noah Gurley, Javon Quinterly, some of the guys that have been around, like, this is not what we envisioned. This is not what we said we're going to be about. This is not who we are. I don't know what was said in the meeting, but at that point, I knew the culture was headed. No, we hadn't won a game. We just got drilled. But I knew we were about the right stuff because the next practices completely flipped. Then we had our next exhibition game against Southern Illinois, who's a good team, and we played much better. We came out in the first game and looked completely different than we had in that close scrimmage. Then maybe the next one, after we played here, we only played in Birmingham once this year. It was against Gonzaga, and we weren't very good. It turned into an offensive shootout. There was no defense being played on our side. We got back from that game. We lost the game. I kind of asked the players, like, what happened? Just said we didn't do what we needed to on the defensive end. I said, so when we're playing defense, the offense a lot of times takes care of itself. We're one of the best teams in the country. When we forget about playing defense, we're a really average team. So they kind of admitted to me exactly what I would have told them, but it's a lot better when you ask them and they come up with it themselves. So, and really some of our freshmen were saying that. So when we lost to Gonzaga, sometimes you need a wake-up call. We kind of got ourselves woke up, and then the loss at Oklahoma was another one. So we haven't had many losses, but I felt like the response after every one, and us getting better at the stuff we weren't good at in those losses, and we fixed it, and let's make sure it doesn't rear up again. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. So, that's a couple of the stories I'd have for you on the question you asked. So appreciate you guys' time. Thanks. Roll Tide.
And that's Nate Oates. We also heard from Brandon Miller and Mark Sears. This is the Recruiting Blitz with D Squared. We wanted to bring you that press conference because Alabama will be in action coming up later this afternoon, and we will be there on Press Row. The Blitz Sports Radio will be also via 97.7 The Zone, our sister station, and you can hear the broadcast. So download the 97.7 The Zone app. So you can hear Chris Stewart and Brian Pasek on the call. Pregame will be at 12:45 p.m. And then around 1:45, Alabama and Texas A&M Corpus Christi will tip off, and you will be able to hear that on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. And, of course, this is the Blitz Sports Radio, so don't forget to download this app as well. We will have a lot of breakdown. You just heard the press conference. We brought it to you in its entirety here on the Blitz Sports Radio. And you can hear this show every Monday through Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. I am D Squared, Rudy Armand. So download this app at the Google Store, the Apple Store. And don't forget later this afternoon for the Afternoon Blitz, it's the Bandy Man, Bailey Lowry, Captain Cool, John Abraham. They will be bringing you live updates and reaction from the Alabama game in the NCAA tournament and just the start of the NCAA tournament as a whole. The first game of the day is about 11:15, and it will be from Birmingham, and it's going to be the Maryland Terrapins and the West Virginia Mountaineers. That winner of that game could potentially play Alabama on Saturday. That tip time is yet to be determined. So we'll see if Alabama can take care of business later this afternoon, and whether it be West Virginia or Maryland. I picked West Virginia in this game. I picked West Virginia and Alabama to play on Saturday. So we will see if that happens, but definitely keep your ears and your and eyes on the basketball today, but be listening to 97.7 The Zone for the Alabama call, and be listening to the Blitz Sports Radio. We'll have reaction tomorrow on Friday's show from the results for Alabama and the SEC today, because really Mississippi State's already gone home, but 6 of the 7 remaining teams take the court today. The only one set to play Friday is the Kentucky Wildcats against Providence. But speaking of Providence, speaking of the East Coast, we're going to catch up with a great friend of ours, Jaden Daly, who does a great job on Twitter at Daily Dose of Hoops. He is a basketball aficionado from the East Coast. He was lauding Fairleigh Dickinson last night that got a huge win to advance to the round of 64. In the first four, they routed Texas Southern and were very impressive in doing so. And he's very familiar with East Coast basketball, and certainly we've had him on Talking Ball in the past on 97.7 The Zone. He's done an outstanding job, and so we are going to catch up with him and get his thoughts on the bracket and on the SEC tournament, no question about it, as again Fairleigh Dickinson wins 84-61 last night. In the other first four contests, Arizona State, I would have gone 1-3 in these matchups. I got that one right, though. They completely dominate Nevada and Steve Alford, 98-73, and of course the night before it was two really good games. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who will take on Alabama. The Islanders win 75-71 over Southeast Missouri State, and then Pitt outlast Mississippi State 60-59. So those are the four results thus far in the tournament. And as we said, the tournament gets underway in earnest today, as there will be a lot of games starting with West Virginia and Maryland at about 11:15 Central Time on CBS. The Mountaineers a 2.5-point favorite. But we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we're going to welcome Jaden Daly to the show and talk some NCAA tournament. Stay with us here on the Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The tech show's on this month. You know, I was thinking of looking at home security systems.
Oh, cool. I'll go with you. We're looking for more home security ideas, too. That's why I called Budget Blinds.
Budget Blinds?
Look at this.
A remote for the blinds.
Yep, motorized.
Okay, well, that's beyond cool. I love it. But what does it have to do with home security?
Oh, they also come with a timer. The blinds and drapes open themselves in the morning, close in the evening.
Oh, so it looks like somebody's home even when you're not.
Exactly, and I saved a bunch of money. Sally saved a bunch of money.
Ha, but you'll take the credit.
Yeah.
My brother, the tech genius.
Thanks, man.
Now, give me that remote.
Budget Blinds motorized window coverings are the ultimate in luxury, and during the Luxury Within Reach event, they're even more affordable. The more you buy, the more you save, with savings up to $2,000. Hurry and call 855-BUDGET-BLINDS now before this offer ends, or go online to budgetblinds.com. Don't miss out. Call 855-BUDGET-BLINDS now. Offer good on select products at participating independently owned and operated franchises. Restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Renowned sports artist Daniel A. Moore has teamed with master sculptor David Grieco to create Finish, the first in a line of limited edition bronzes. See the artist's work on Finish now at newlifeart.com. Finish captures Kenyon Drake's dive into the end zone after his 95-yard kickoff return in the 2016 National Championship game. Available in 3 sizes with the artist and Kenyon Drake signatures cast into each piece. Pre-casting prices are available at newlifeart.com. Hurry, this offer won't last long.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I am D Squared, Drew DeArmond, and this is my favorite time of the year, man. March Madness starting in earnest today. The last 2 days we've had the first 4, but we're going to have some outstanding matchups starting today. A big-time slate, and we're going to break it down with one of my favorite people. He's based on the East Coast, as we said. Does a great job covering in the New York metro area, the college basketball. And we really connected with him first a couple years ago when Iona and Rick Pitino took on Alabama. Scared Alabama quite a bit in round 1 in a 15-2 matchup, 15-seed Iona, 2-seed Alabama. But Alabama won that game by about 10 points, made some big shots down the stretch, and was able to advance. But Iona, once again, is a dangerous team. They are a 13 seed playing the 4 seed UConn Huskies. And it's interesting now because Rick Pitino, could he be on the move as some interesting job openings have happened? And we're going to talk about that with our next guest, Jaden Daly, Daily Dose of Hoops. And he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jaden, man, it's great to talk with you again. How are you this morning?
Always good to hear from you, Drew. I'm doing well, my man. Hope everything's good with you.
Yeah, everything's outstanding. Your thoughts, really quick, on the tournament this year. They say there's not a great team in college basketball. I've been blessed to follow Alabama. They've had a great year. I don't know if there's a definitive favorite. Kansas is the defending national champion, but I think they've got some flaws. What is your thoughts on this field as we look at it?
Yeah, there's not a clear-cut favorite this season, at least in my opinion. You have Alabama, the number 1 overall seed, of course, and then Houston, Kansas, the reigning national champion, as the number 1 seed. You have a couple of 2 seeds like Marquette, who could make a run. UCLA is in the mix as well. And you mentioned UConn, although they're a 4 seed. This is a team that started 14-0. Beat Alabama in the 2K85 around Thanksgiving weekend, so you guys are a little bit familiar with the Huskies, and they can make a run too. And there's also Duke in the East Regional. They're a 5 seed, but they have a path to the Final Four through Madison Square Garden, which will be a big help to that fan base. They're going to travel up to New York. So there are a lot of ways this tournament can go.
Yeah, there really is. And then the Iona matchup is interesting because everyone always respects Rick Pitino and the way he prepares his team. They come in 27-7. They won the automatic bid. But it seems like a tough matchup with UConn. This UConn team, as you already mentioned, soundly whipped Alabama during the regular season, I believe 82-67. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Iona and UConn?
It's going to be a close, like a 10-15 point matchup, I think. I do think Iona has enough to win if everything goes right. Walter Clayton Jr. is the MAC Player of the Year. He's a sophomore. He can play both on and off the ball. He's a great defender, a knockdown shooter. Danish Jenkins, the junior college transfer, runs the point, and he's going to be the focal point on the offense for Pitino. Nelly Jr. Joseph, who you remember from the Alabama game 2 years ago, is a junior now, and he's averaging close to a double-double a night. But UConn's physicality is what I'm worried about if I'm Iona. You look at Adama Sanogo and Donovan Clingan, the 7'2" freshman coming in off the bench. They free Alex Caravan up to play off the perimeter. You have Jordan Hawkins and Andre Jackson who can make plays. Tristan Newton is the East Carolina transfer who's done an excellent job at point guard. If it weren't for Sule Boom and Tyler Kolek in front of him, he'd probably be an all-Big East point guard. Dan Hurley has the horses to make a run here. There's a way for Iona to win, but there's a lot that has to go right.
And there's been some guys, I believe, like like a Jay Billis who have picked UConn to win it all. The UConn has been a chic pick by some folks. I was really impressed with Danny Hurley's team over the Thanksgiving holiday. They thoroughly handled Alabama. Now, they went through a little bit of a rough patch during Big East play, but this is a team that they've got a lot inside. They have a solid guard play, and I think Coach Hurley, what he's done each year, they've gotten better at UConn. I've got UConn in the Elite Eight. I got them bowing out to UCLA, but I certainly think this is a team, as you already mentioned, capable of making a run.
Absolutely. And the thing that UConn has to worry about is hot shooting. That's what's burned them in the last couple of years in the first round. Obviously, last year losing to New Mexico State when Teddy Allen had a big game. And then the year before that against Maryland, with Alabama meeting the winner of that game in the second round, UConn just went cold in the second half, and it came back to hurt them at the worst time. So if I'm Dan Hurley, I'm guarding the three-point line, I'm closing out, I'm making sure that Iona gets a contested shot and has a hand in everybody's face just to make life a little more difficult for them. You know Pitino's going to prepare and bring out everything in the scouting report. He's got Talik Brown on his staff, who won a national championship with Jim Calhoun, and more importantly, left Hurley's staff in the offseason to take a job with Pitino. So he knows UConn intimately well, and that's going to play into Iona's advantage as well. So if I'm UConn, I have all the pressure on me, and I have to make sure that everything gets executed.
Well, there's no question, and and Jaden, I know you've taken a look at the brackets now for a few days. Who do you like? Who is in your Final Four?
I have Kansas, Houston, and then on the other side of the bracket, I have Arizona, and I have Duke as a 5 seed. It kills me to pick the Blue Devils as a grown-up North Carolina fan. But Duke has such an easy road to the Final Four that I think whether it's Kentucky or Marquette meeting them in the Elite Eight, the Blue Devils match up very well. They're playing their best basketball at the right time. Kyle Filipowski is a matchup problem. Jeremy Roach is a killer shot maker. And you look at what Duke has, and it's all coming together at the right time, and couldn't happen at a better time for that group. But I have Kansas over Arizona in the national championship.
So you think Kansas can be the first team since the Florida Gators in 06-07 to repeat?
I do. I think they're the most complete team in the field between Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick, DeJuan Harris. There are so many weapons on that team where it's essentially a game of pick your poison. I think Kansas has the most on its roster and should benefit from it.
And that would be quite an accomplishment. Bill Self looks like, I guess he's going to be back. We certainly are, our thoughts and prayers have been with him since the health scare during the Big 12 tournament. They didn't beat Texas in the final, but a lot of times that doesn't portend struggles in the NCAA just because you don't win your conference tournament. Certainly, and I did see Arizona, UCLA. I actually have UCLA in my Final Four, but I did think it was a high-level game with Arizona and UCLA in the Pac-12 championship game. I actually have Alabama and Houston in the championship game, but I got Alabama, Houston. I do have the Duke Blue Devils. I love the way they're playing. Derek Lively protecting the rim. You talked about Flipikowski. He was the best player in the ACC tournament. I certainly think Tyrese Proctor has really improved as the years have gone on. And, I've also, pardon me, I also believe strongly that UConn could make a run. But again, like I say, I've got UCLA. I just really believe in Mick Cronin. I liked him when he was at Cincinnati. He's got better players now at UCLA, and I just love the toughness of the Houston team. I know Sasser's a question mark, but I think Houston could make it to their own backyard and play in the Final Four. But I think it's going to be a wide open tournament. I agree with you, no question about that.
Absolutely, and I do like Houston a lot. The home court advantage is probably going to help if the Cougars do get there. You can't go against Kelvin Sampson and the toughness that you mentioned, Drew, and then the stout defense that this team has. They've been a top 5 KenPom defense all season. If Houston gets to a Final Four, they're going to be locking its opponents down, and I do think that this team could get to a national title game. They're going to have a big roadblock in Kansas if the Jayhawks get that far. I like UCLA as well. They're in my Elite Eight. Having covered the Big East for so long, I'm very familiar with Mick Cronin. I don't think he gets enough credit for the job he does.
Right.
So good job by you mentioning them. With Jaime Jaquez and Tiger Campbell, I do think the Bruins are a threat as well.
And then before we let you go, we know it's a busy time for you. You're going to be on the road covering the tournament today. Jaden, what is Rick Pitino ready to move back to the Big East? We hear a lot of buzz around the St. John's job. Certainly, I think it would be an electric hire. It would certainly juice the Big East even more, and St. John's, who's struggled to gain traction in many ways since the Lou Carnesecca era. But in your mind and what you hear in your area, is how much smoke is there behind this St. John's and Rick Pitino?
Oh, there's a lot of smoke behind that fire. Pitino's downplaying the rumors, as he should. His focus right now is on Iona and on his team and whether or not they can beat UConn and post an upset as the 13th seed. But there are some legs to this St. John story where both the Iona president has acknowledged that there's a chance that he may leave, and there are rumors behind the scenes that St. John's may have an offer to Pitino. I can't confirm that at the moment, but if you're St. John's and having been around that program for so long, they do need some upgrades, and they do need a jolt in the program that hasn't been there in the last 2 decades. I think if Pitino does move, it would be for that job, but there is a very strong chance that he may end up staying where he is in Iona after all.
I know he's liked Iona. He's even talked about, potentially of, staying there for the rest of his career. But Daily Dose of Hoops, it's Jaden Daly. He does a great job covering East Coast basketball, especially the Big East, the MAC, and a lot of these leagues. And the Iona Gales, there's no one better. Enjoy the tournament, my friend. I'm sure we'll be talking again soon, especially if Rick Pitino ends up at St. John's. But thank you for the time. Safe travels, and enjoy the hoops.
As always, sure, you too, brother. Good luck later on today.
Thank you very much. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared.
The Blitz has been called.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Welcome back. Wrapping up this edition of the Blitz Sports Radio, I'm D Squared Rudy Armand. Big thanks to Jaden Daly, Daily Dose of Hoops. Does a great job. Give him a follow if you want to know about Big East basketball, East Coast hoops. Definitely, he does a great job in the metro New York area. Connected with him a couple of years ago when the Iona Gales opened up with Alabama, and that was a very competitive game. And now they have one of the more intriguing first-round games as they will take on the UConn Huskies, Will Iona, and Rick Pitino. So that's going to be a very, very entertaining ball game. And we'll see if Rick ends up. Where is he going to end up? Could he end up potentially at St. John's? We don't know. That's a very interesting thought, though, that could happen with the Iona Gales. And so we certainly will be tracking that and tracking that game. Rick Pitino does a great job of preparing his team, and they will play tomorrow at 3:30 Central Time on TBS. UConn is a 9-point favorite. UConn 25-8. The Iona Gales 27-7. But hey, everybody enjoy the March Madness. And again, on 97.7 The Zone, our sister station, Alabama, 12:45 pregame, 1:45 airtime. But don't forget the afternoon blitz with the Bandyman, Bailey Lowry, Captain Cool, John Abraham here on the Blitz Sports Radio. They will be talking a lot of hoops today in March Madness. It's one of the best days of the year, everybody. Enjoy the first day of the tournament, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll have a lot of post-game reaction from Alabama and Auburn as the Tigers, around 5:50 tonight in Birmingham, will take on the Iowa Hawkeyes as well. Have a great rest of your March Madness Thursday, everybody, and we'll talk to you on Friday morning at 9 a.m.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in